Hi, welcome. Let me start by saying that I am not a YouTuber. I wouldn't even call myself a Minecrafter. I'm just a person in the world who likes to play the game. I'm a 42-year-old dad of two, and I've bought the game back in 2010 or so, and I've been playing it ever since. Um, and I have what I call a Frankenstein world. In my world, is probably different than some others. And I wanted to kind of share it today because I've got some questions on it, and there was a comment on a video by Builds by Augie, and it's not the first time people have asked me, how does your world look like then? If you call it a Frankenstein world, and if I would describe it. Well, first of all, let me say that I do have some mods installed. That's why you see this word item in my inventory. Is I have warp stones or waypoints installed that I can teleport to different parts of my world. I have some mods installed like shaders and some audio. That's why you hear all the birds chirping in the background or some ambient noises. And a dark GUI and some other little tweaks here and there. Here we are in my cabin that I've built probably 7 or 8 years ago on a different world, and I copy and pasted it into here. So this was my survival base. That's why I have this, storage area and little sleeping quarters on top, a little living area here in between, and I copy and pasted it into this world, into this kind of grove surrounded by snowy mountains, which is very fitting for the time of year. It's December. I even have a Christmas tree here. And so my Frankenstein world has lots of these kind of builds that are from different worlds that I created during the course of 10 years or so. And I copy and paste them using a program called Amulet or MCEdit in the past, what it was called. That's what I did. So I'm here to just kind of give you a little bit of a tour, show you a little bit around. Oh, I also have this map in the top left of my screen or your screen. You can see, the coordinates, my FPS, and also the map. I can show you what it looks like here. When I click on the map button, you can see we have lots of things to see, and you can already see by the terrain here some things are copy and pasted. Definitely some ugly borders here and there, and when I zoom out, there's also a huge area over here that you can see that was copy pasted, but a lot of areas in between are also copy and paste from other worlds. So that's why I call it Frankenstein, because it's definitely put together with different elements from different worlds in different times. And what does it look like when you walk around it? Well, or fly around it maybe. Here's a big overview of what I call my kingdom. So I have my huge castle over there, and it's surrounded by all kinds of builds and things from other worlds, and also new ones that I've added just in this world itself. And they have all kinds of different themes, right? You see the desert and a mesa. Sometimes it's more geographically inspired. So here's like an Italian kind of village with Italian-inspired, buildings, and like a winery type deal on the hill here, with even like wine barrels inside. And I had to berry bushes here before because I like them better here. You can still see them, but the villagers keep getting hurt, and so I wanted to replace them so they could stay alive for a little bit longer. Dutch kind of style buildings over here, with windmill, like a nice farm, some farm buildings. Here's a building that was inspired but rebuilt from somebody else, so I completely rebuilt it here in my world, just because I wanted to learn some styles and some texturing and some of these bits and bobs that they put in, just to give me some inspiration. Sometimes you learn a lot by just rebuilding somebody else's stuff. But here's also, hey, they introduced bamboo, so I created a world, went to a bamboo forest and built my bamboo house. And after a while I was done with that world. So, but I did copy and paste it and put it in here. Here's a Dutch style village kind of deal, or street. Sometimes I'll just describe them as a street because it's just a couple of houses on a street with this little Dutch kind of church in the background. Sometimes it's inspired by just imagery from the internet. Here, these are built in the same period as my little cabin in the woods or in the snow there. So same style. There was a whole kind of mountain area that I had, and all these buildings were on that mountain. But I copied and pasted them here, just to have my stuff. These are kind of functional as well. So there's basically farms in here. Here's an iron farm, and a chicken farm over here. And this was a brewery, kind of a witch's hut, basically somewhere that I put up high. Here's a little area from a park that I built in another world, and I copy and pasted it in here. It only had basically this shape, but when I was playing around, it just looked like a dinosaur for some reason. And instead, since I'm starting to play with my kids, wanted to kind of reshape it and also give them a little adventure path to go on, so you can actually walk around the whole kind of dinosaur, and my kids could kind of explore this and walk along the way on the bridge, and the whole thing is walkable. And then at some more area you would end up here in its mouth, where I actually put also the dragon egg and a dragon, because I fought the dragon with my kids as well. Originally I had this castle in the middle was a gigantic tree, but I replaced it with this castle on this hill, and then I wanted to build kind of all kinds of houses around it, and then surround that with farms. So that's why you see all these farms on the kind of outskirts of my village here. So even like carrot farm and wheat farm and sugarcane farm. Yeah, that was the deal, and that's why I built also these walls around it. But as the world kept being alive and I kept playing in it, I kept expanding outwards as well. This castle here is built on the spot. As again, it was a big tree at first, but I replaced it with this castle, which really nice build. Again, probably inspired by a picture or something that I saw. And they were like, "Oh, I want to build that in Minecraft," with the interiors and everything. And at some point in time, I moved my stuff from the cabin into here. So this was basically my living space, and I have a storage room below. Here you can even see an old map where I didn't have that mesa area and all the buildings that are surrounding this area now. So that's also fun to see. I should have done that more, basically, made more maps, maybe from the start when there was nothing here, and then slowly starting to add more and more buildings. There's cherry wood that was added, so I built some houses in a world where I had it surrounded with cherry grove, and built some houses with cherry wood, just to kind of play around. And after like I don't know, a week or so, I got bored with the world, so I put them in here. Similar is here with mud bricks, testing out different roofs and different textures, and made kind of this swampy area. It's also kind of sugar factory kind of deal. Mangrove, different houses with mangrove, built to kind of get used to the color scheme. And yeah, it's really nice. I think some of these builds really fit together. This was basically my actual survival base at the time, and this was a farm, but I retextured it to be like kind of an apartment building, and then I took this design and copied it over here or in this world and in this world. So it's basically the same shape and size and everything. I just changed out the block palette and the roof type or whatever. But it was just a couple of worlds that I built after each other, and I just put them in here and find a place for them, copy and paste them and put them in the world. There's lots of things. Here's copper introduced, right? So then of course a lot of copper roofs and copper inspired things that I wanted to try out and see. Little market stalls with lots of villagers walking around. Yeah, really nice. A desert, right? I went to a desert world. I created a desert seed, built a whole lot of villages, a whole lot of houses. It was even bigger, this village, but it didn't fit it completely. I wanted to keep it inside the wall at the time. So I just copy and pasted some parts of it, and then of course blended in with the surrounding terrain. So this was basically one giant square at some point, and then I'll just round off the edges and make sure that some of the terrain makes a little bit more sense. So it's kind of wacky sometimes. I don't know, it's not always the greatest. There's a little house up here, and then there's a little house next to it, but I just try to make it work and try some things out. Let's make some paths in between so you can walk around it and get some of the interiors back. I mean, I did see, I think it was over here somewhere, yeah, where you can see, I copy pasted it in, but the terrain was different. So yeah, so there's no interior really that's functional. Others have a lot of beds. Most of the houses have a lot of beds just because they have tons and tons of villagers. So that's why you see sometimes some frame drops as well, and a lot of iron golems walking around, because I wanted to have this bustling kind of village and city with all these different kinds of villagers from different places. So the purple ones, the taiga ones, the mesa, the desert, the jungle villagers, every type that you can have. Then I opened up a world with mods for like terrain mods. Terralith, I believe, was what it was called. And I built this gigantic castle. That's the only thing that I built in that world. So you can even see some of the original Terralith, terrain where they use deep slate and tuff for like mountains and everything. But I wanted to preserve it because it's such a big build and it's a lot of detail, a lot of blocks, and a lot of time that went into it. So I put it in here, and over time I think I changed the roofs and I changed some of the colors and everything. I think the gradients and everything below here are, not the best, but definitely something that I learned when I was building this. I was like, I need to create some sort of gradient. I think inspired by the B00 series, where he built these gigantic arches. He used kind of the same color palette in it. But yeah, I tried to make it my own and add a little bit of a whiter top. That for him it goes basically to gray, but I wanted to go to completely white. So learning that and working on that. So when I found this location and put this castle in it on the edge basically of this wall, I was like, okay, now I have all this real estate over here that I want to fill, and I now want to have this castle be the center point. So I've added more stuff, and also from other worlds, because then I was building a mesa in the mesa, and I wanted to kind of explore that and just create this kind of Adobe type, I don't know, Southern America maybe kind of village. I don't know where it's from. Maybe it's even Middle Eastern. I don't know. These Adobe style villages where they're stacked on top of each other. Colorful, really nice. Another cathedral that I found on a picture on Instagram. And I even built this whole kind of square space where, there's all these colorful houses next to each other. I do need to figure out what I put in the middle here. Maybe a statue, maybe, I don't know, a tree, or maybe market stalls. I don't know. Maybe something in the future when I get inspired to do it. Something I built in this world is this kind of Western style street. So with saloons and like a motel or something like that, or a shop or something like that. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites as well. Wild towards -X, which is basically west. So really cool Wild West style, different textures because there's of course different colors here. Some interiors definitely can see a cowboy coming into the saloon and ordering a drink, and there's people playing poker or whatever. So yes, really happy with how this turned out. Then I went and saw some pictures of Spain. So I was booking a vacation or something, or wanted to book a vacation. And I saw Madeira, which is a city, and they have this square, which is very marbly and looked very high class and modern. So yeah, I tried to kind of replicate that here, with kind of a different style, different houses, different colors, but with the orange roofs and everything. So really happy about how that turned out. Here's another island with another street, but then very fantasy-like. And this is from another build, from another world, basically. I did add this house here, and I had to transition to like a river here. So I added a tree and I added a water wheel and everything that was not originally there. Like these mushrooms and everything to make it kind of fantasy style. Really turned out really nice. Little restaurant here on the water where people can park their boats and get a drink and look at the scenery and everything. So really nice. Here's another solution I had to find out, because this area I flattened this whole area because this was also very hilly and also not the greatest terrain to build. But then I had to find a transition. And also one of the things that I was thinking of when I was building this, I wanted to have all these canals that basically would connect all these little islands to each other. So I had to get rid of all that water at some point. So where does these canals lead? So I had to build and terraform this whole area with custom trees and custom waterfall, just to get this kind of more nicer transition. And it's also really nice kind of secluded area to kind of start. Basically, if I wanted to make like an adventure map or something, I would probably start it here and have your story, go up into the city, and I don't know, it's just something you figure out. Here's some French houses, or basically what I think of when I think of like little quaint French style. This is even a cathedral, because my parents, they live in France, and this is their cathedral in their village. So I rebuilt it here. Definitely where I've learned a lot, and you can see that my building style has improved a lot, because there's definitely older kind of churches over there that don't look as good. Here's another kind of viewpoint of the castle in the background, and then having these kind of, I don't know, kind of medieval kind of street with a canal. And I was hoping it would be full with villagers, but apparently they don't want to hang out here, only when they're stuck in the boat. But I put all the working benches here, so hopefully I can repopulate it in the future. Yeah, there's no interiors here as well. I mean, blank kind of things. You can see that a lot. Here's Amsterdam Street. Amsterdam on the canal. Of course, Amsterdam is in the Netherlands, where I'm from. So yeah, pack houses, how they're called, kind of inspired by that, like a tulip auction and thing, where they bring out the tulips to the boats. You can go to their farms, little nice houses, little balconies, and little things like that, a little modern here. Then I built the whole bridge because I like the vantage point again back from here. I wanted to kind of see the bridge going up to the castle, so I built a whole bridge here. I had to terraform this whole area, and yeah. So what I'm doing now, or what I've done lately, like a month ago or so, I was building here. So I built this little vantage point. So I wanted to get this kind of Japanese-inspired temple with a village, and this viewpoint like frames it really nicely from coming from this forest into this little village. You can definitely see it's more modern because of the usage of the shelves. You know, little nice cottage. The banners in the shelves already give a really nice effect. I really like these types of houses, and yeah, try to give that Japanese style where you have those lines and everything. It's very difficult, right, in Minecraft to kind of go really small in the detail, but I think it turned out really nice. So this is a pretty late build, and you know, the Torii Gate here, and then you move into, this is one of my proudest builds on this side, which I've done, this is the last build, so next to this kind of rice field, I have this water temple, which I really love. I like the texturing, I just like the position of it. I don't know, it's something really nice. And you know, you have this nice viewpoint of this nice Japanese kind of garden area with the waterfall. So really love it. This is the latest project that I'm working on right now, and hopefully get done in the future, which is kind of Roman Greek style. So I'm working with some different arches, and I don't know what to do yet, but yeah, there's different houses that I've put in just to kind of get the feel for it. Was inspired by Corrales, who was working on Roman, so I created this huge aqueduct. So the goal for me is to have some sort of market square beneath and houses on the side and these arches along the way. So I'm trying some stuff out here. There was this little mount over here that I kind of enhanced, which I like, which I'm trying to get some sort of maybe a statue on top or something. I think that would be nice, of like maybe a knight on his horse. So yeah, need to fill out all of this. You know, I've planned out some roads. Very, very, you know, just a sketch. Maybe it is going to be a completely different style than this Roman area over here, right? It's just a street, and I like the advantage of it. I need to decorate everything, of course, and you know, there's just built pallets and all kinds of things here still. But once I get all the decorations done and the village is in, then it's going to look much more alive. And then, yeah, gonna go up to the next area, and there's even more patches of area that I need to fill in, like here and here. This area over here, I think I'm gonna add some more like trees and everything, just to make the whole castle kind of feel like it's higher up. Maybe smaller trees on top and the bigger trees down below, just to get that that scale done right. So yeah, lots of interesting areas here. Again, you know, some of these builds are definitely 7, 8, 9 years old. Others a little bit, you know, in between and recent. Here's a whole docking area that I wanted to create, but I didn't have any water nearby, so I also flooded this whole kind of valley just to create a dock, so I can create some boats. I'm not really good at boats, but I tried at least to figure something out. The sails are incredibly difficult, but okay. Kind of a docking area with even a factory where I have my latest storage system. Whenever I do play survival, you know, everything is here. All the blocks. There's even a second floor down below with even more bulk storage. So lots of things to see here. The next part is the city, which I'm gonna reserve for a part 2, I think, because I need to get be mindful of my disk space. Last thing, just because I'm here, I'm experimenting with structure blocks to get some animation going. So here's a little factory where a little tool or whatever, something gets packaged in a shulker box, then it moves along the line, then it gets scanned, then it gets painted orange, and then it goes ahead. So this whole factory, I want to have, you know, these production lines doing all kinds of things. And with the new copper golems, that could be cool to have them working alongside of it. But yeah, it's trying to get this done, and it's a learning curve, right? I mean, in the future, I would like to see these structure blocks, you know, working for maybe, you know, the windmills to turn as well that I have here over here. So yeah, that's basically it that I wanted to showcase here for this what I call my kingdom. There's definitely little builds here and there that I can go into and showcase about, hey, this is built in a mangrove whenever there was a mangrove forest introduced, and I plopped it down here. Lots of examples like that in this world. Sometimes I get inspired by builds, sometimes pictures, sometimes movies or whatever, sometimes real life, right? I find my inspiration everywhere. And I just try to kind of put everything together and make this happen. So I'll show you the map. So this is the area that I'm talking about right now that we just showcased. Here's that kind of Roman kind of thing. What I want to do in the next part 2 is showcase my city. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been cool. It's been I've had some multiple requests about this to kind of showcase this world and show what it looks like. I'm very proud of it, very happy with it. It's been my world for the past decade or so. At least 6 years. I think 6 years is basically when I started doing all this stuff. And as a 42-year-old dad, I try to find my time whenever I can. And so it's just a matter of relaxation. Whenever I have something to do and I have an idea, I come here and I can always find a spot to work on. So that's really nice to do. Thank you very much for watching. And if you're interested in the city, I'll see you in part 2. All right. Bye-bye.